Welcome to the viewing room.
Step behind the veil with us.
Welcome back to episode 4. It's Victorian death traditions. Yeah, we're already on number 4. We're like flying through these.
I couldn't.
Got
Yeah.
6 more to go. I'm not good at math. Like at all.
Same.
So for this one, I'm going to share a lot of cool facts about Victorian death traditions. I have it on my laptop because I had notes. So I'm just going to kind of read off of this a little bit. Okay, so the Victorian period was from 1837 to 1901, and it was when Queen Victoria obviously was ruling.
That's it.
Yep.
I thought it was longer than that.
Yeah.
Why did I think it was longer than that?
She died in She died January 22nd, 1901.
You know, I feel like I think the Victorian era was a lot longer ago than it actually was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It's like Picasso's death. He didn't die that long ago.
I know. That's like when people bring up like the 80s, I'm like, oh yeah, that was like 20 years ago. Wait, no, it's not. It's way more than that. Is it 20 years ago?
20 years ago was like
2006. That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
But still, the 80s is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions. It's the truth. So, the mourning customs of this period began when Queen Victoria lost her husband, Prince Albert, on December 14th, 1861. So she loved him very, very dearly and pretty much mourned for the rest of her life after his death. So she wore black the whole way out till she died in 1901.
She ain't special.
Did you know she was really short?
Yeah.
She was like 4 foot something. All her dresses were custom made. She was like really short. Like I'm 5'3". She was probably up to here on me. She was small. Just a little lady.
She's a little one.
She's a little lady. So because she kind of set the custom for how people mourn, the customs became like really popular and important throughout that society for that era because of her. Death happened often back then. I mean, there were no like proper doctors or healthcare back then.
Yeah, no good medical support at all.
No treatments for much other than like
shoving potatoes up their cooter to stop them from falling out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know like also, okay, this is a really random fact. Do you know like on old Victorian vintage bedposts when they have like that round thing on the end? You know what that's for?
Do I want to know what that's for?
So women would get like diagnosed with like being crazy and like be hypersexual, so they would use that to like get off. Yeah. So on chairs too. You see them on like the ends of chairs. Yeah. Fun fact for the day. Yeah. So most of the time back then, death would happen in the home, due to like illnesses, and because a lot of the time people were at home, there wasn't much else going on. So out 15 to 30%, depending on like where they lived back then, like their social status, infants died before their first birthday. So
yeah,
there was a lot of like child death back then. And because like a lot of illnesses they didn't have cures for back then, there was nothing they could really do. If a baby got sick, they passed away, unfortunately. And then like if they lived in like the poorer areas, the more susceptible to like illness they were. So the more children died in that area compared to like the more well-off areas. The life expectancy for males back then was 40, and for women it was 42.
Women still live longer.
I know. Still somehow, well, not somehow, we outlive men. Once someone in the household died back then, the entire household would mourn. So if it was like a higher ranking family, their servants would also mourn the death. And now I'll get into the traditions. So, these are more like known traditions or mostly well-known traditions. So back then when someone died, they would cover all of the mirrors. So they'd either drape them in white or black lace or like a fabric of some sort. And they did this because they saw it as a way to prevent the deceased spirit from departing or becoming trapped, because the mirrors are seen as like portals.
Yeah.
So they would cover the mirrors, stop the spirit from being stuck in the mirror and then being stuck there and haunting the living of that house, which is kind of
Would that
interesting.
be a reflection on the amount of horror movies today that include spirits and mirrors?
I think so. They're trapped souls.
Does Bloody Mary have any connection, do you think, to...
It could. I'd have to look that up, but that's a good question. I feel like it could. She could be like a trapped soul.
Yeah.
That, yeah, they didn't cover a mirror. She got stuck back there in whatever
Giving you some homework.
portal she went to. It also, when they covered them, it helped the families distinguish like their period of mourning from like regular life, day-to-day life. Another tradition is that they would stop the clocks as soon as the person died. It would help them record the time of death for like death notices and for doctors to put on their death certificate. It also symbolized the pause and end of life. So like once this clock was stopped, that was like obviously the end of their life.
Yeah.
So. And then it also created a ritual boundary between the same thing. So like it helped them differentiate between mourning period and then like regular life. So if they came in, say if they had a visitor and like their mirrors were covered, then they knew that they were in mourning. Same with if they noticed that their clocks were stopped, then they knew that they were mourning.
When would they start the clocks again?
It'll get into that after.
Oh, okay.
I have like a explanation on how long, like depending on who they were in your family, how long you mourned for. Yeah. They also closed windows but kept curtains open. So this prevented the spirit from leaving too fast because the windows were closed. And then if they did close the curtains after a death, it was seen as bad luck, and it was seen to like confuse the spirit because they didn't know. I don't know. They didn't know where they were going.
Where they go, they know
or
how to leave.
What to do. Yeah.
Where's the door?
Yeah. They're like, how do I get out? They're just trapped. Same like the mirror thing. They're just stuck. So yeah, those things they believed like helped them move on, but not like they didn't want them to leave. I don't know why they'd not want them to leave super fast, but they didn't. They wanted to hang out with them for a bit, I guess.
Get like ghost whiplash.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay, so this is the time spent mourning. So the time spent mourning varied between who you were in the family. So for women, for widows, it was 2 years. So for 1 year, they did full mourning, which they had to wear all black, like even underwear, like everything, hat, gloves, everything. So they did full mourning for 1 year and 9 months, and then 3 months of half mourning. So for half mourning, they were allowed to wear gray, lilac, or white. Yes. And they weren't allowed to socialize for 28 months because it was seen as improper for women widows to socialize once their husband died. Because I'm not exactly sure why. I didn't really look into that, but I'm guessing because the men were usually the ones that took care of all the business and were the ones that mostly socialized. It was seen as improper for women to do that when they'd lost their spouse.
But did they see it as kind of like a betrayal or something?
Yeah, I think so. And then did you know that widows are women and widowers are male? Yeah. I didn't know that, but I do now. So for widowers, for males, they fully mourned for 1 year, wearing all black. They didn't have to half mourn, and they could socialize after 3 months because they had to get back to like doing all the businessy stuff and making money.
And making babies probably.
Yeah, they had to remarry because that's how society was back then. They had to continue populating the planet. Yeah. For parents, they mourned for 1 year. They had 10 months of full mourning and 2 months of half mourning. They could socialize the entire time, but it was seen as like rude and it was frowned
Kind of
upon.
improper, yeah.
Yeah. So they tended to like not try to socialize. Like they didn't go to like gatherings or like events or anything like that. The men could more, but it was more like women that were not necessarily allowed to back then. For children, so if you were a child and you lost your mom or whoever, they mourned for about 6 to 12 months. It was just full mourning the entire time, so they just wore black the whole time. There was no half mourning. For siblings, same thing, 6 to 12 months and full mourning. And then for extended family, so aunts, uncles, cousins, they mourned for 3 to 6 months, and they also just had to only wear black. There was no half mourning involved.
Nobody really knew how to get over shit, did they?
No, and I think that's because of Queen Victoria, because
Yeah.
she mourned for like the rest of her life. I think society just like took that onto themselves, and like the longer you mourned, I feel like the more social status you had in a way. Like,
And I'm definitely not saying,
no,
not to be sad and mourn.
no,
I'm not saying that.
honestly, grief, it's everyone mourns in their own time,
Yeah.
their own way. Some people don't even mourn at all.
Yeah,
But back then, I think because of the whole situation, like the longer you mourn for, the more. So the richer people mourned longer because they could.
Yeah.
Because they had the money to be able to mourn longer.
It's a status
so, like,
thing.
Yeah. It definitely was more of like a show, I think, back then than an actual like a sad,
like a woe is me
husband
kind
died.
of
Yeah.
thing.
Like attention and like look how long I can mourn for kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some lesser known traditions, they used to make hair lockets and brooches. So they would take hair from the deceased and braid it and put it into like a little locket or a brooch. And they'd put either like little flowers in there too, or they just like braid it into like a little intricate design and keep it as a little keepsake.
Honestly, that's just cooking up a ghost possession.
I know.
That is like a ghost tether
tied
waiting to happen.
Just haunted. I think though, like I really want to look and see if I can find one to have just
that'd
for
be
my
cool.
little curiosity
Really cool,
cabinet. I think it'd be cool.
Get haunted by little Victorian boy.
Yeah, or a little girl, whoever. Oh, and then speaking of like how I said like the longer you mourned showed like what class in society you were. Families that were more well off would hire professional wailers. So they'd
be like outside like bansheeing it up or something? Yep. Oh my gosh.
They would wail dramatically or stand in silence at a wake. They would dress in
I can get a job.
Right? Something I can do.
Yes.
So they would dress in full mourning attire, so all black, and they were usually women, because men aren't gonna want to be seen standing around crying. Yeah, I'd want to be paid to cry.
Dude, I'd make so much money.
Right? They usually carried a staff that was like draped in cloth or lace, like black lace. And yeah, hiring a professional mourner basically reinforced the importance of the person who passed away. And it was basically a way for the family to brag, to be like, look what we can afford. Because my husband or wife or whoever died.
Yeah, what the heck?
You can't because you're poor.
I'm just going to have this lady stand outside my house and just scream for how many months?
A whole year.
A whole year at least.
She'll be there.
Ah! Oh, that's just Belladonna.
She's just, we hired her. She's doing her job.
She's doing good.
I didn't look up how much they made because, like, I didn't think that was really relevant, but I'm sure you probably made quite
It'd probably be cool to see the amount they made then to the amount they would make now.
And then so I added some extra special mentions. So back then they also did postmortem photography, which I think is really cool. It is kind of morbid because it's just a picture of a dead loved one.
Pretty cool though.
And it was actually this type of photography was more sought after than wedding photography.
honestly, it's kind of interesting to be looking through photos on the internet and realizing that person was not alive during that photo.
And you can tell, like, so depending on how they had them propped up, sometimes they were laid down and they'd have like flowers around them, obviously, because they smell. And it also symbolized like life and death.
Yeah.
And then other times they'd have, if they were children, they'd have them sitting on their lap. And if you look up postmortem photography, you can tell which ones are dead because they're so still. Whereas like
Yes.
the other people are kind of blurry because they're moving because they're alive.
Yeah.
Or you can see like off camera, you'll see someone's hand holding up someone or like some kind of device. Like it sometimes would be on a chair or they'd have like a stand behind them because they're like being held up so that they can not fall over.
That's super interesting.
Yeah. But most of the time for babies and children, they'd be held in like the lap or they'd be in a bassinet. But yeah, you could tell who was living and who wasn't just based off of the blurriness and stillness of each person in the picture.
Eerie.
I know, right? It's creepy. Then there's also a thing called mourning biscuits. So depending on if you went to the service, when you left, you'd be given a little package that was wrapped in either a Bible verse or sad poems, and it had like black ribbon tied around it. And you usually got a pack of 2 little biscuits, and they'd have a stamp on them, and it would either be a cherub, a cross, a heart, or just nothing. And they were kind of like shortbread consistency, like they were made with like spices and stuff. And it was more so like a symbol that you were present and counted for at the service, and like just a little something you could take home to like remember that person by.
How many disguises do you think I could put on in order to get death biscuits?
Right? Honestly, though, when I worked at the funeral home, you would be surprised how many people just came for the free lunch. Like they didn't even know the person, they vaguely knew them. They would just show up at the end for like the sandwiches. They're good sandwiches. Yeah. And then we do have something that is still similar to the morning biscuits now. It's called funeral bread. I don't know if there's another name for it, but that's just what it's called. It's like a sweet little bread with cherries in it, like maraschino cherries. And then you can either have it plain or with butter. And then I noticed a lot of like the elderly people, especially like the part-timers I worked with, they'd eat it with a slice of cheese on it. And it's actually really good.
I'm okay.
It was so good.
I don't like those cherries.
I love those cherries. They're my favorite.
I'm okay.
Whenever I worked a service, like we'd have food put aside for the funeral directors and the like part-time helpers that we had come in.
Just you in the corner.
And yeah, that was my favorite thing. I look forward to that every time.
So, sorry, my condolences.
No, I'd eat in a room where no one saw me.
Are you sure?
Yes. I don't want people watching me eat. Especially at a service when I'm supposed to be like professional. I'm just eating cherry bread.
Got crumbs all the way down your room.
But yeah, it's actually a really good bread. And I really liked it. Yeah, that's kind of all I have for that. But I thought that was a lot of that's really interesting. But specifically the postmortem photos and the hair lockets, I think are really cool.
Yeah. So pretty cool.
Yeah. My sister, I did put out another question on our social media, and my sister again pulled through with an answer, so I will just bring that up.
Go trash goblin.
Right? Little trash goblin. But her answer pretty much just ties into what we said about like social status. She said, I understand the concept, but I almost feel like some things were performative, like they needed to be seen and mourning their loved one enough, and it almost becomes less for your loved one and more for social standards.
Definitely very dramatic.
Yeah, especially hiring wailers. Like that's such a odd. Can you imagine like if we still did that now? I feel like I will have to look it up, but I think in certain countries, I think in certain Asian countries, they still do that. They still hire.
Where, like the banshee myth came from?
Maybe, if that's tied to that.
The Irish would have.
Hold on, I'm looking up.
Because the banshee, when you hear her cry, it means you're going to die. So it's more of a beforehand thing. But could it be tied into?
Maybe. I'm just looking up if they still hire wailers. Yeah. So in parts of Asia, they do still hire professional whalers, and they get given a microphone. So like they're you can hear them.
Oh gosh.
You'll hear them. It's slowly fading away, but yeah, in certain areas in Asia, they still
That's
do that.
crazy.
Specifically China and Taiwan.
Oh yeah. Can definitely see China and
They'll
Taiwan.
either wail or sing, like sad stuff. But I'm gonna look up
One Clean Angel.
sad song.
I'm never gonna let that down. Never.
It was what other song pigs? Everyone else's songs were so happy and mine was just so depressing. Hold on. Let's see.
There's a reason you were bullied.
Oh, I was only bullied by boys. Oh yeah. The legend of the Banshee is directly tied to real-life professional whalers.
Oh, cool.
It's widely considered to be the supernatural manifestation of a funeral crier.
Oh, cool. So
good to know. There you go.
Yeah.
We learned something. That's
another one
cool.
from my book.
Yeah. In ancient Ireland and Scotland, communities relied on a traditional mourning ritual called keening, from the Irish word. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. It means to cry or to weep.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'd hire keening women to attend the wakes, and then yeah, that story is. The Catholic Church heavily disapproved of the practice because they saw it as a disruptive pagan ritual.
I was just gonna say they think it's Wiccan, don't they? Like,
yeah, church ruining everything.
Right?
No offense if you're religious. I'm not bashing that, but damn.
Shame.
Why'd they do that?
Well, he's telling me to stop screaming in the middle of the night.
Yeah, you don't want to banish it. Yeah, so the Banshee is rarely a monster. She's described as an old woman with long, untied gray or white hair dressed in a cloak, which is what what mourner whalers would wear. That's cool. I didn't know that. Now we know that.
Yeah.
It makes sense, though.
Yeah.
And then, wait, let me look up the Bloody Mary thing, then. See if that's tied in with the mirrors.
We talked about that. But yeah, it's cool to see how different things connect into different things, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Like how... Yeah, you know, whole Banshee and the Whalers thing.
Yes and no. So, the legend of Bloody Mary and the superstition of covering mirrors after a death stem from two different folklores.
Okay.
Though they both share a fear of the supernatural realm within mirrors. So, sort of, but not really. So,
have things in common, kind of.
Yeah. But that was a good question.
Yeah.
But now we know. But that's really cool about the Banshees. But it definitely makes sense. Have you guys ever watched Charmed?
I don't think I have.
If you have, there's an episode on Banshees in that one, and I love that episode. But one of the sisters gets like scratched by her, and she starts turning into one. She just like screams and breaks windows. You should watch Charmed though.
I should watch Charmed.
It's a good show. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it.
A lot of things have.
It's an old show. I think it's the 90s.
Is Charmed a book?
No, it is not.
That's what I do.
Practical Magic is. There's, I think, 3 books. But yeah, so that's my little tidbits of information about Victorian death traditions. Lots of information, lots of cool little things to know.
I learned a lot. Connected some things.
Yeah, we learned some new stuff.
Made some friends along the way.
Yeah. Now I want cherry bread. Someone needs to die.
I volunteer for tribute.
But yeah, if you have any questions or comments about anything we talked about, feel free to message us. Yeah. And if you haven't watched our last 3 episodes, go get on that because they're pretty interesting. You missed out on the squonk, so.
The squonk and the ghost chickens.
Yeah.
The kids are still crazy about the ghost chickens.
You gotta go watch those to know what we're talking about. They're just following you everywhere now. They're gonna come back into your living room.
Even my boyfriend was like, what about the ghost chickens? I was like, no, you do.
Everyone wants to know about them.
Now I'm just gonna be the ghost chicken girl.
That's okay. Could be known for worse things.
Yeah, true. Not wrong with that.
No. I think I was wrong last time I said our next episode is a cryptid, but cryptid, but it's not. It's the Prep Room Diaries.
Oh, yes. I forgot about the Prep Room
First
Diaries.
entry. So the next episode will be that, the Prep Room Diaries. Our first entry for that will be me talking about some I don't know the right word to use, but some icky things we have to like see or smell.
Yummy stuff.
Yeah, and I'm ranking like my top 2 for smells and things to deal with.
Gross. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be very science-based because I'm going to go into like the background.
I'm so there for that.
Stuff, it'll be interesting.
I'm there for that.
And then the one after that is cryptid.
Yeah. I'll have something planned.
Yay. All right, well.
Oh.
What?
The buttons. I gotta show them the buttons.
Oh, yeah, Katie made buttons.
Well, technically, I didn't make the buttons.
Oh, well, you designed it.
I technically, I did not design these ones.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
well, I take it back.
I don't know if you can see this. I got the viewing room buttons.
Yeah.
And they're made by my adopted brother, Trance. Well, not actually adopted, but they like adopted me into their family. So like he's like
Same sort of.
a brother from another mother. Yeah, and he makes a lot of pins. That's his handle. Put a pin in it. I think you can find him on Instagram. So
Go
I
look him up.
might link him or in some post.
Yeah, we will.
Kara, shut up. I'm busy.
I'm dying.
You're next.
You'll get the cherry bread. I won't.
You.
That's not what I wanted.
Aww. For shame. God damn it.
Someone else has to buy, so we get the cherry bread. Well, me, you know, like.
I don't want the cherry bread. I'll take the death biscuits. Over the
morning biscuit.
The morning biscuits.
Sorry.
What about night biscuits?
Night biscuits?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, there's morning biscuits.
Oh my god. Biscuits. So funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with that, rest easy.
If you can.
Good night.